Live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night on Tour. Welcome to ThNOT, as we call it. I am back with Brendan Stackhouse. We got interrupted when we were in Salt Lake City because of bad Wi-Fi, bad connection. And so I asked Brendan to come back because the conversation was amazing and I wanted to continue it and talk about what he does and who he is and what his purposes with our company. So, Brendan, for those that don't know or maybe didn't tune in last time, can you please introduce yourself again?
Sure.
And say what you do here at Les Miserables.
Hi, my name is Brendan Stackhouse, and I am the resident director here on the Les Mis tour.
And how long have you been with us?
15 months.
15 months.
Yes. It's been a lot of fun.
I love it. So we talked a little bit about this last time, so I kind of want to go back just a hair, just to like get people to understand. How did you get started in directing?
I just by sort of trying it, and throughout my high school and college years, I started a little theater company and just was trying out working on shows through that, and getting my friends together and putting on these little like shows, and and that's sort of how I got my feet wet in it, and I kept kind of working at it and then got to do it professionally.
And here we are.
Yeah, and now here we're on tour with Les Mis.
And here you are with Les Mis. So we had talked last time about because you right now, actually, we are putting new people into the show right now, correct?
Yes, this evening, in fact.
Yeah, you'll have a rehearsal right after this, so thank you for joining me before you have to go and direct the show. So what does that look like right now? What does it look like to put a new cast member who is just joining us, what does that look like for you?
So it's a sort of a normal rehearsal process in that you give the actors all the tools that they need, sort of what's happening in the story when their individual parts are happening. We have renderings of the set that we kind of show them, and some pictures and things to kind of help get them into the groove of the show. I think the hardest part about it, which is whenever you replace in a show, this is commonplace, but you don't have anyone to work opposite.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of me playing all the parts.
Yeah.
Which there's some that I've gotten very good at.
Listen, he is an excellent fontaine.
I'm a wonderful fontaine.
We already know that hair fits. So.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And so that's sort of like, I had this moment last night where we got out, we put the whole first act together last night.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot, though, because you're putting, right now, 3 people into the show. So, okay.
Yes. But I just really, and it's usually one at a time. It's sort of rare that we were replacing 3 at the same time. And so there was a lot of running around that was happening, and I had a moment last night where I was like, wow, the scene partner is so important to the rehearsal process.
So important because it just, those scene partners make it solidify.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And as somebody that has gone into a show that is that you are just kind of in a studio and you're like, okay, well there's a set piece here, but we really can't see it right now.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It does make it that much more difficult because you're trying to figure out how that all works and gels for everybody.
Totally. And for me, I try to make the process as stress-free as possible, but the fact of the matter is it's just never going to be stress-free because you don't have the stuff you need to be in the play.
So I guess then that would be what is one of the hardest parts about it? You think it's the scene partner and the hardest part about your job as far as putting somebody in?
I think it's meeting people where they're at as far as understanding the scope of the show from a physical standpoint, because they do, for me, it's sometimes I find myself being like, well, of course the sliders are going to close, but they don't know what the sliders even are.
Right. Because here's the other side of this is that when we have new people during the show, right? They watch the show the first night.
Yes.
Do you know how overwhelming that must be to watch the show for the first time and go, I'm going to do this, but they don't even comprehend really what they're doing because they don't know. They might know who they're replacing, but they don't know what to really be looking for.
Yeah, and to be honest, and one of the actresses that we're putting in said this last night, and it was a great perspective to have. People come in and they're such fans of the show that they're really sort of watching it as taking in the story and taking in the production as a fan that first night.
Yes.
So it doesn't even really count as a watch as far as like the logistical aspect.
Yeah, they don't get to. They're enjoying it from the standpoint of being an audience member,
Yes,
watching the show
exactly.
that they love so
Do
much.
people get to go watch it, I guess, a second time?
So that's tomorrow.
Because, like, you
yeah.
watch it once and then do some rehearsal and come back, and then you're like, oh.
Yes. So I always, like, about halfway through the process, I pick a day where we don't. So, like, tonight last night we did all of Act 1. Tonight we'll do all of Act 2 because it's shorter and it's easier. And then tomorrow afternoon, they will watch the show again. And they'll
great,
be able
'cause
to,
we
like,
have a
sort of
matinee,
put
yeah.
together.
Yeah. So bringing back another question here, what is the best part of being a resident director of a show like this? Thank you.
It's like great to, first of all, impart the knowledge of it and put the new people in is a blast. And also our show is great in that it's sort of built around.
Greta on as Little Cosette tonight. Greta is Little Cosette.
Okay,
on.
amazing.
We'll be doing Young Pepinine.
Wonderful.
So that means we'll have
Great.
our
Little
turning
switch up.
changes.
Yes.
A little switch up tonight.
Okay,
All
great.
good.
Very nice. What was the question? Oh, the best part.
yeah.
And our show is great in that it's like sort of shaped around the people that are doing it, and so getting to find, particularly in the principal covers, like getting to find their version of it.
Yes, because that I think is something that I know that I enjoy about this company is that it's like, here's the blueprint, but you figure out your way of getting there,
Exactly.
right? Like it's nothing is ever, you have to be here for maybe this thing because it's a lighting cue or something like that.
Yeah.
But how is your journey as an actor and as a character with inhabiting this character? How do you get there?
Yeah, like I think of like this, all of everybody that I put into the show has been a blast, but like Jeremiah Alsop and I, when we did his Marius, like really sort of dug into this like new guy that we kind of found that totally works in the scheme of the show. But in a completely different way than the gentleman who's doing it. And I think that's what's super fun about our production.
That's really
in
cool.
particular.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
We had a really great time.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what was I going to ask you? Oh, okay. So if there are people, like you said, you got started by, what was the moment you thought someone was perfect for the role? Oh, was there a moment that you thought someone was perfect for a role? Maybe in here or like outside, like in another show.
Oh yeah, in plenty of things that I've cast, that's been quite easy because that person walks in and you're like, that's the thing. Yeah. And then for this, I've sat in on auditions for this too, and it was very like the people that have gotten the job out here, I was like, that's the person who's going to get the job.
Got it.
Is,
Okay.
Yeah, which is always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's also, because I get asked a lot, like, how do you deal with the rejection? How do you with the no? And I was like, because you are right for something that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are right for something that's out there. You might not be right for this, but there is a role out there for you. And it's just, especially when it comes to casting a show like this, it's fitting the puzzle pieces in.
Totally.
You know?
And the thing with that too is if we obviously rejection is part of this business when
Yes.
you're an actor, and that's it is what it is. You have to sort of saddle up for that. But I work a lot of new stuff, and that is the opportunity when I just like individuals who have a sense of self and know who they are, because the thing's not really created yet, and so that's when it's important to kind of bring you to the thing.
Yeah.
And get involved in that stuff if you're an actor.
Yeah.
Get involved in new things.
There you go.
It's the
so
best.
much
It's
fun.
such a good exercise.
Someone just asked, how often are the directors from London involved in the process? And do they ever send you be like, hey, this thing has changed over in London because we have productions that are worldwide? How often are they in touch with you?
So, I wouldn't say they're not in touch with me necessarily, but my boss is in touch with them a lot, and we sort of incorporate changes that way. And we have a creative oversight that comes out fairly often.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times that's
Because we're having a visit in just a few weeks.
Yes,
with
yeah.
one of our directors that is going to come out, and some things may change.
Yes.
And so from the beginning, because you started with us in New Orleans.
Yes.
And we were in New Orleans.
Yes.
What is one of the biggest changes that you've seen in the production? If there was one thing that you could, I'm sure that there's been a lot of changes.
Yeah, I'm trying
There's
to
always little
think.
ones for me, but I'm sure that there might be bigger.
A lot of wardrobe things have sort of shifted
Yes.
over in the time that I've been here, and wigs and things, and sort of like
Yeah, all my wigs have changed.
Yes. Sort of conceptually with the visuals of some
Yeah.
characters. Nothing like crazy, just some staging things. Like we moved like the love bump switched sides and that ammo section in the barricade, but nothing like crazy major has
Yeah.
changed in the time I've been
All
here
right,
that I can
cool.
like think of.
It's little things. It's, you know, I think the thing with Les Mis is that it's always being tinkered. It's
Yes.
always being worked on. It's always being, adjustments are being made based on, I think, who is in the role.
Yes, that actually that brings up a big one actually that I just remembered.
Yeah.
We changed the staging of I Dreamed a Dream for Lindsay,
Oh.
and it was when she came into the show, and it was such a great. I hope she doesn't mind me telling this story. I'm sure she won't. But it was such a awesome lesson in advocacy in a room too, because we were trying to sort of fit her on how it was staged, and it just was not. There was just sort of, and it was already respectful, but some confusion on how we were going to build this moment. And she was so wonderfully spot on in crafting, in helping us craft something new. And it was super collaborative. And it felt like for that, it's rare to have moments like this on a job like this where it feels like a new musical because it's so.
Because it is. We've been running for 40 years.
Yeah. But it felt like we were, and it was me and Jesse Robb and Corey and Lindsay, and we were all sort of in this like think tank kind of collaborative room crafting how we were gonna re-look at that. And the storytelling of the song stayed the same, but how it physicalized was really different. And that was kind of beautiful to watch. And then watching that, then having to sort of explain that and set that on the covers and things like that was really neat.
Okay, so that does bring up a very good question. So then, since that adjustment was made, then that adjustment was made for all of the covers as well.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and there's some freedom too, like you learn in a solo song like I Dreamed a Dream, right? Like it's lit with just spots. So there is flexibility in how it's it's the same thing with Who Am I and Soliloquy.
Yeah, exactly.
So some of those solo moments are easier to tinker in
than the big group production numbers.
The barricade.
Oh my God, I love it. What advice, if there is somebody that is out there that is like, you know what, or let me take a step back. How did you know that you always wanted to be a director? Or did you always know you wanted to be a director?
I still don't know that I want to be a director. No, I think this industry, whether you're doing it in the community level or the high school level or professionally, there is a job for everyone everywhere. And so I think it's easy to gravitate towards the thing that you want to do. And for me, it was always just like, I love to tell this. I love to figure out a way to tell the story, and I love to figure out like a visual language for that. And wouldn't it be cool if they did this? And I found myself asking that question and reading things and seeing movies and figuring out how they would translate, and that just became exciting for me. So that's how I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And I can't sing all that well, and I can't really act or be on stage, so this was a good avenue.
So then if there is somebody out there that is like, you know what, I think I'm going to be, I would really like to look at being a director, what advice would you give them?
Find a way to do it. And I know that sounds trivial, but what I mean is get your team together and figure out a way for free or for cheap to put on the thing that you want to put on. And whether that's...
Hello everybody, this is your 15-minute call.
That is chipper.
That is.
15 minutes.
I have a friend who just did, she took like A Christmas Carol, the novel, in some barn in New Jersey, and for free just like read it aloud with like some visual stuff. And I was like, that is such a lesson in like, just do the thing, like figure out a way to do it. You don't need to get like necessarily like call in these rights and call it, like figure out what story you want to tell, get people together and do it. You will learn. I said this in our last segment for those who tuned in, but you'll learn a lot by just trying it and doing it.
Yeah.
And then find people you like and respect and reach out to them.
Use your friends, and especially at the beginning, like use your friends to like put together that reading group, that like play reading group, and be like, great, let's put this on its feet. Or even if it's just one scene, and you can be like, how does this, like it is such, I have found, especially with a show like this and in a lot of shows, is that it is a collaborative process.
1,000%.
Not one person does not always know the right answer.
No.
And what they think might be the right answer in the long run might not be, because you'd be like, actually, it makes more sense for me to go here before I go here. And again, everybody's just trying to figure out that roadmap.
Yes. And the best idea always wins, or should always win.
Yep. But don't be afraid. Also, if somebody says, what I would say is, if somebody says to you, I want you to do this, don't go, well, that's not going to work. Always go, okay, yeah, let's try it. Let's try that.
Yes.
Always give it a try, and always say yes.
Yes.
Say yes first.
Yes.
Great. There was I was also going to say, because, you're saying about just putting it on its feet and doing things. I'm like,
Yeah.
there are so many people out there. Everybody has a cell phone. Everybody has some sort of camera or something on there. So if you are somebody that is like, I don't really want to direct for stage, but I really like to direct for like film or TV, like, use your phone, create art, because that is only going to serve you in the long run. So my other question is, actually, I was going to ask here because my wife is watching and she's following along. And so I'm wondering, are there any questions that I missed? Because I want to be sure that I answer everything. Let's see if she pops up with a yes or no. I guess we got everything.
Great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So any other pearls of wisdom that we can drop on everybody that's out there?
Oh, yes, hold.
Yes, hold. Okay, we're getting a couple more questions, but let's get a pearl of wisdom.
I'm a big make your own opportunity kind of person, just like I was saying. Figure out ways to get people together and do the thing for free.
What's your educational background? Do the thing for free. Keep going, and then we're going to talk about. I just want to remember that.
Yeah, totally. So that's a big thing. Be nice too. Be really nice to everybody. That's really, really important. People don't want to work with people who aren't nice. And being nice is a more nuanced art than people think it is. Being shiny and being nice are two different things. And so you want to like practice empathy, practice active listening. Those things I think are really important.
Try to learn everybody's name.
Yeah, I would rather be remembered in the rooms that I'm in for being kind more than brilliant. There's a lot of brilliant people. There's not so many kind. I mean, there are kind people,
especially in this industry.
Yeah, totally. So I would, so work on being nice and also figure out who you are. And outside of this building and outside of this industry, figure out who you, whether that's your partner or if the sports you like to play or the things you like to watch or listen to, and have that ready to go for when you're
Have outside hobbies.
Yes, exactly.
So let's go back to the question. What is your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree from Wagner College in arts administration. And I have two master's degrees in special education and applied behavior analysis.
Jeez.
Yes.
He's not busy at all.
No.
Not busy at all.
Yeah. So
and what would be your dream project?
So this exists in two categories.
Great.
There's like
Guess what, everybody? This is your 5-minute call.
Oh my gosh. I'm ready. Yeah.
There's new things that I'm excited to like work on, so that's maybe I won't talk about those, but I would love to do like Light in the Piazza. I would love to do Ragtime. I want to direct
favorites.
Doubt.
Really okay.
And I haven't done a Shakespeare yet, and I think I'm gonna try and do one in the next like year or two.
Go.
Yeah, like Shrew or something like fun and
there we go.
Timely.
All right,
or Merchant of Venice. That's timely right now. That's really timely.
It is very okay.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks so much for being here and coming back on after we were rudely interrupted last time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And thanks everybody for tuning in. We will see you on Saturday night for ThNOT on Instagram. And until then, we will see you next week with hopefully a couple cast members. I'm going to ask a couple cast members to join us next week to talk about being in the big old show of Les Mis. So until then, bye everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Thanks.